Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. I got this you can't buy. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie.
What up, Mass Gang? We are here to talk about another week of professional wrestling. I'm MFGDs, and this is the Crimson Mass Show. Let's get right to it. We're going to start with WWE. First thing I want to talk about is why this AJ Lee Becky Lynch thing feels so flat. Maybe, just maybe, it has something to do with the fact that AJ Lee's been going, I don't know, what, like 1, 2, 3 months? And then she just drops right back in to continue to feud. Yeah, that's poor continuity. Like, it doesn't mean as much. I feel like they lost sight of the plot of her coming back after all that time, challenging Becky Lynch, disappearing, then coming back. Like, I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for everybody. When I say that, I don't care. I don't care now. Too much time has passed. Love AJ Lee, love Becky Lynch, but now that there's been this big gap of time between them two feuding with each other, AJ comes back. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, let me feud with Becky Lynch. I just don't like it. And I get it. It doesn't seem like Becky Lynch has too much to do. And it doesn't seem like AJ Lee has any other type of opponent she can face other than Becky Lynch. So I get why they're fighting, but I wish that there would have been something that made a little bit more sense. Like maybe Becky Lynch attacking AJ Lee like being out with an injury, and then coming back after a couple months to confront Becky Lynch. Because now it just feels like nothing. What are we gonna do? We're gonna put the women's intercontinental title on AJ Lee, and then it's just gonna be all good, all great. I don't know, man. But I really wish that they would have done something to, if not keep the momentum between them facing one another, at least have something that justifies the gap of time other than AJ just showing back up. So now it's time to face Becky Lynch again. So that felt kind of stupid to me. It should feel massive, but it just doesn't. And they have lost the magic of AJ Lee's return and her feuding with Becky Lynch. That's just where I'm at with it. And we're going to stay in the women's division with my next topic. Team Rio, and to a lesser degree, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I feel like they're consolidating a little bit too much. Rhea Ripley, now, let's just completely put Charlotte Flair to the side altogether. Charlotte Flair is a legend, a Hall of Famer, all those cool things. But let's just put her to the side right now. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley's stand-alone star power. Rhea Ripley should constantly be, if not the women's champion, involved around the women's title picture. Now I get it. She's in the Elimination Chamber. Good, great. But she spent the last, 3-4 months teaming up with Io Sky, who's another great women's competitor, just not on the level of Rhea Ripley. Another great female competitor, and she's been languishing in the tag team division. Yeah, they're tag team champions now, but those belts have a long way to go before they could become relevant enough to where it's like, okay, Rhea Ripley having this title, that's a good thing. And that leads me to my other point. And anybody who's been watching my content on either of my channels would know that I feel how I feel about this. I just do not like when you take a great single star, pair them with another single star, and make them a tag team. And they're doing that across the board in the entire women's tag team division. Those women tag team titles should be used to take two women that are on the lower card, have them team together, build them up, and then you just follow the same formula over and over again. Build up that women's tag team, have them split up, have one become a star, have one become whatever. And that's how you just keep it going, keep it going. But what they do in the women's division, tag team division, and a lot in the men's too, is they just put two single stars together. Two that can't afford to take the L when that time comes. So we all know how this is probably going to end. Either A, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are going to lose the titles and then just go their separate ways, or B, one of them is going to turn on the other. So, or a combination of both. But my key point is that Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, those women are singles stars. They're single stars. And especially with Bianca Belair missing in action, you would think that they would want to, have their single stars all competing for the primary titles. But instead, we're just going to put them all in the tag division because we don't got shit to do with them. They don't got shit to do with them. There's a ton of women on NXT that you could call up and specifically have them be tag teams. Have them be tag teams, have them run the women's tag team division, and you could keep these single stars. Or you could take there's so many titles right now for the women to vie over. You got two mid-card women titles, you have two main titles, and you have tag titles that are defended on both shows. So why is there a need to take some of the top four women, easily top six women in WWE, and put them in tag teams? That just doesn't make sense to me. There's way too many singles titles around. There's way too many women in NXT, which you can see clear in a way right now aren't going to be the type of competitors that get called up, get put on the main event, get singles titles. There's tons of them in NXT. You could have those titles, and if it's a problem of, well, we don't want to call too many women up. Okay, you could have the tag team titles defended across all three brands, and they do that. But when is the last time a women's tag team from NXT won the tag team titles? It hasn't happened. And I'm not talking about the NXT women's tag team titles. If that even, I think they have women tag team titles. I don't fucking know. But you should have the women's tag team titles that are on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all be shared between all three brands, because there's actually women competitors that will probably never become the US women's title, the Intercontinental Women's Champion, the WWE Women's Champion, the World Heavyweight Women's Champion. They're never going to win those titles. And those are the wrestlers that you should want to use to put those women tag team titles on. I'm just saying. Okay, now we on to the men's division. And I got a question for y'all. What's the end game with Finn Balor? What's the end game with Finn Balor? And it seems like this has been the case since he first ever won the Universal title and lost it because of injury. Finn is the guy, kind of like Sami Zayn. I hate to say it. Finn is the guy that challenges but never wins. So you always count him out. So that removes the suspense from the match. So now, after Finn Balor had a match in his country against CM Punk and lost, we thought that Finn was going to turn a new leaf. He comes back, he attacks CM Punk. Now he's getting another shot at CM Punk at Elimination Chamber. And I could tell you that there's a close to 0% chance of Finn Balor actually walking out of that match as a champion. Do you want to know why? Because they have already made promos. They have already set things up for CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. So Finn being involved, they just want CM Punk to have a match in Chicago. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. Let's sell a few tickets. Let's put CM Punk in there. Let's sell a few tickets, and let's sacrifice more of Finn Balor. So I have a question for you guys. Do you think Finn Balor will ever win a key title in WWE again. I'm not talking about the US title. I'm not talking about the Intercontinental title. I'm talking about the WWE title or the World Heavyweight title. Because, honestly, right now, I don't see it. I just don't see it. I feel like they missed the boat with Finn Balor. They missed the boat a long time ago. And now you can't even really use the demon the way you're supposed to use them. I think Finn Balor even said it. Like, they got the demon to the point where if Finn Balor's the demon, he's most likely going to win. If Finn Balor's the demon, he's most not the demon, he's most likely going to lose. And that's why he doesn't want to be the demon anymore. He doesn't want it to seem like I got to be the demon in order to win. And that's the way it seems. So I can see why he's not the demon anymore. But my thing is, man, unless WWE decides to pull the trigger on something that fans have been asking for years and get former Bullet Club members to form a new stable in WWE where Finn Balor is the leader and they become almost like a semi bloodline. That's the only way I could see Finn getting a key title in WWE. Otherwise, I hate to say it, Finn's gonna have to go to AEW because I actually think that in AEW they might actually treat Finn with more respect than they treated some of their other people that showed up there. You know the AEW thing, they show up, they're hot for 1 month and then they just disappear, or they get put into a tag team or put into some comedy storyline. Like we know the shtick with AEW. But I actually think guys like Finn Balor, guys like AJ Styles could actually go over there and get treated with like a level of respect where they can actually be involved in the world title picture. But mm-mm-mm. With Finn Balor in WWE, man, I'm afraid that he's never gonna win the big one, and I hate it because I don't wish it was like that. Perfect segue, since we're talking about ceilings. That's gonna be this segment of today's episode. Ceilings. Because the next ceiling I'm gonna talk about is Javon Evans. What is Javon Evans' ceiling in WWE? So I was captivated by just like everybody else when he hit that OG cutter from the other side of the ring on, I don't know what we're calling him, El Grande 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever the fuck his name is. He hit the OG cutter on him from across the ring. And that got me thinking, what is Javon Evans' ceiling? So let's start at the lowest level, right? The lowest ceiling for Javon Evans, I think, is the fun, Ricochet, Kofi Kingston, cool spots at the Royal Rumble type of guy. That's his floor to me. At the very worst, that's what he'd be used for. A guy that does cool things, but never actually does anything of note in WWE. That's his floor. So we're going to start there. That's his floor. The next step up from that will be guy who wins the Intercontinental or US title a few times and has a decent career. We'll call this the Kofi Kingston territory. Even though Kofi, no, you know what? That's not fair. That's not fair. Because Kofi hit all three levels. He hit the first level, the second level, and the third level. So we'll just say we won't get his segment a name, but you guys know what type of wrestler I'm talking about. We're talking about the guy that wins the IC title, has a little run, or wins the US title, has a little run, maybe challenge a few times for the world title, but never actually wins it. That's the next level. Then you have level 3. Level 3 is the Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio territory. That's the territory where, as the territory that Sami Zayn keeps trying to get to, but for whatever reason, he can't never fucking do it. This level Sammy can never get to, level 3. I win the world heavyweight title as an underdog, and I have a nice little run with the title, but I don't win the title multiple times. That is the ceiling for Javon Evans. And if you think that his ceiling is higher, if you think that we're talking about a guy that when he's done, when it's all said and done, he's been the 7, 8 time not world tag team, 7, 8 time world heavyweight champion, I got a fucking bridge to sell you because I can tell you right now, the type of wrestler that Javon Evans is, as amazing as he is, I have never, ever seen that type of wrestler get multiple world title reigns. Who's the closest thing to that? Who? Jeff Hardy? That's the closest thing we got to that. You know, a guy whose primary skill is high flying, win the world title. Like I said, and he'll have to do it as an underdog because of his frame. So he's gonna either have to be the Rey Mysterio, the Kofi Kingston, the Daniel Bryan. He's gonna have to defy all odds to win the world title. If I had to take a guess, I think his ceiling is probably going to be level 2. You're going to get a few intercontinental and US title reigns. He's going to be excellent in the ring. He's so young. He's going to be excellent in the ring till he's not. And I think that's the direction that they're going to go with it. But if he gets to level 3, I won't be surprised. But I'll hedge my bets and say level 2 is his ceiling right now. Okay, now let's talk about one of my favorite things to talk about. You guys know what it is. Who is the masked man that keeps hitting the curb stump on different members of the Vision? Okay, I get it. I get it. Said this earlier in the week. Yes, I made a video saying that it was Logan Paul. Do I still think Logan Paul's involved? Yes. Could Jake Paul possibly be involved? Yes. And okay. Another thing. Let me start off. I don't like how I did that. Now let's talk about my favorite thing to talk about. Who is the masked man that keeps attacking the Vision? Yeah, I made a video saying it was Logan Paul. I still think Logan Paul is involved. Ain't no way. Ain't no way that man got his ass beat like that, joined the Vision in the same night, and just let bygones be bygones. Offered Braun up. Hey, Braun, you're gonna win. We want you to win the Royal Rumble. We want you to win. Right before the Royal Rumble starts, boom, Braun Breaker gets attacked. Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman goes to the back. WWE makes sure they're filming. He's on the cart. Everybody's telling them, like, hey, yeah, man, it had to be Seth. It had to be Seth. He's the only one who could have done it. Braun's all like, how did Seth get in here? What the hell happened? What the hell happened? That's how I know that is not Seth, at least not directly. So let's put Seth Rollins and let's put him over here, okay? So then let me talk about the other thing that came out on another podcast. They said Grayson Waller was flown to Saudi Arabia to do the spot where Braun Breaker was attacked. Okay. Let's just say that that's the truth, right? Explain to me why Grayson Waller will go from carrying the New Day's bags for the last year and just drop smack dab right into the middle of a main event storyline. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I forgot what it was. I gotta ask Petey Stunt later. I forgot what it was. What was it? I think it was either his debut in AEW or no. It wasn't his debut in AEW. I think he returned to WWE. Y'all remember that time where Christian returned to the WWE and it was like, it's Christian? That's what will happen if Grayson Waller is revealed to be the masked man. They're gonna take his mask off and they're gonna say, it's Grayson Waller. That's what's gonna happen. It is not Grayson Waller. I don't care if they asked him to do stunt double duty and do a little curb stump. The storyline is not going to say it's Grayson Waller. So, no Grayson Waller, no Seth Rollins, as far as who is the man behind the attacks. Okay, another popular one is Jon Moxley. 0.00% chance of happening. Zero. It is not Jon Moxley. He's under contract. He has a damn title in AEW. There's no secret backroom deal between WWE and AEW. So you can throw that out of here. Montez Ford. You can clearly see the guy's not black. You can see it as clear as day. So it's not Montez Ford. Yes, I wish it was Montez Ford because that means Montez is finally involved in something that he deserves to be involved in. It is not Montez Ford. Okay, so who do we got left? My theory, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. They're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. Logan, Logan did his attack at the Royal Rumble, even if it was Grayson Waller. And then somebody did an attack on Monday Night Raw that I think will be revealed to be Jake Paul, but they probably had somebody else did it. Somebody pointed out to me that Jake Paul was in wherever the hell they're doing the Winter Olympics over there supporting this girl. Okay, cool. But what you guys keep missing the point on is that WWE have people fill in as stunt doubles all the time. It doesn't have to be the actual person making the attack. So yes, I understand that the guy who attacked at Saudi Arabia at the Royal Rumble wasn't didn't have the height of Logan Paul. Yes, I understand that the person who attacked on Raw isn't as fluid isn't fluid enough to be Jake Paul or the other way around. It's too fluid to be Jake Paul. I get it. I'm just telling you, it's not Grayson Waller, it's not Seth Rollins. They could throw a complete curveball at us and have it be somebody that we didn't even come close to thinking of. It better not be Chris Jericho because that's suspending too much belief. Because I know Chris Jericho ain't moving like that. So I still think it's Logan Paul, Jake Paul. That's who I will put my money on. Yes, I understand that Logan Paul was ringside. Is there overarching theme of where Seth Rollins is possibly the one pulling the strings behind the scene? Yes. All I'm saying is that as far as the masked man goes, Logan Paul, potentially Jake Paul is involved. It is not Grayson Waller. Those are the three things I want to point out. It is not Grayson Waller. And if it is Grayson Waller, WWE, you done fucked up again. Over on SmackDown, I want to take a moment to give flowers and give respect to somebody that you would have thought I would not have given respect to. Solo Sikoa. Let me tell you guys what Solo Sikoa is quietly doing, and then it'll be all crystal clear to you. Solo Sikoa is quietly the workhorse of SmackDown. Think about it. How much shit is Solo either directly involved in or indirectly involved in? Tag team division. Solo is involved in that. He's involved in the tag team titles. And then a branch from that is Solo's storyline where he has this thing going on with the lantern and a Y6. So that's two things he's involved in right there. Solo is involved in the mid card. He's involved in the chase for the US title. Solo is involved in that. Solo is the anchor point to whatever quiet storyline is going on between Tama Tonga and Shinsuke Nakamura. And a branch from that is Solo is involved in a story of the breakup of the MFTs because, you know, they abandoned him the other week and this, that, and the third. So that's 5 different things that Solo is somewhat involved in. And that's not even counting Solo trying to get into the Elimination Chamber match. So Solo is still trying to get the main title. He's trying to get the US title, and he's trying to keep the tag team titles with the MFTs. All this shit Solo is involved in. And I also want to take time to point out the fact that Solo's character has been developing. Solo spent an entire 1-2 years where he never talked. He never said anything. He just stood there by Roman Reigns. Then he transitioned into this weird kind of trash gimmick where like he was trying to be the leader of the MFTs. That was kind of like the worst version of him. But now you're starting to see him be like add like comedy into his character, and that's where he's hitting his stride point. I still think he needs to get rid of the fucking blonde mohawk shit. That shit needs to go. That shit needs to go. And I still think he needs to change his music. Like I'm taking it all is let's I'm taking it out. to the trash because that shit is whack. Like it's whack and it's whack that is used for the MFT's music is whack. But Solo has been involved in everything and he's been a stabilizing force to SmackDown. And I feel like nobody really thinks about that, but I do want to point that out that he is one of the driving forces of SmackDown right now. Just wanted to take a second to say that. Now let's talk about Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers himself. Let's talk about it. Trick Williams. The man is money. The man is money. Undeniable. Every city, every country whoop that trick every time. I had concerns, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. When Trick was in NXT, I had concerns, man. I thought he was gonna get called up and he was gonna get just treated like another big man, just getting his ass whooped left and right. But they are actually, of all the fault that WWE has right now, one thing nobody could criticize right now, if you ask me, is the way they're booking Trick Williams. You can't complain about that. You just can't do it. Trick Williams have been cutting promos, closing shows, involved in the title picture, winning matches, talking shit, backing the shit up. Like Trick has been doing all of that. Trick has been doing it all. And it just seems so organic. It's not manufactured. It's not something WWE is trying to force on people. People decided to chant whoop that trick themselves. And yeah, I said something. I said something nice about Trick in the AEW thread online, and they all attacked me. Trick is dog shit. He can't wrestle his way out of a paper bag. But even his wrestling abilities are getting better on a week to week to week basis. Ain't nobody ever said that Trick Williams was fucking Okada or Kenny Omega or Shawn Michaels. Ain't nobody ever said that. But you know what? Maybe outside of Shawn to a degree, but even Shawn to a degree. Tell Kenny Omega, Okada, and whoever to pick up a microphone and try to let them out talk Trick Williams. Bet they can't do it. Bet they can't do it. He told Sami Zayn that his breath smelled like 10 pounds of bounce that ass. 10 pounds of bounce that ass. Come on now. I seen shades of The Rock when he was on that microphone. I seen somebody say somewhere it's like if The Rock and Booker T had a baby. That's what you got in Trick Williams. The sky's the limit, man. How over is he? Barry. What's his ceiling? A lot. And unlike Javon Evans, who I love, Javon Evans is great. Trick Williams has it all to be a multiple time world heavyweight champion. We ain't talking about, oh yeah, cool, I got an intercontinental title run. Yay, US title run. No, I'm talking about world title. And they're putting him in that zone. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Tiffany Stratton. That sounds crazy, right? That sounds crazy, right? But follow me. Tiffany Stratton showed up to SmackDown, and immediately everybody knew that she was different. Now, unlike Trick, she can't talk her way. She can't talk at all. She can't talk at all. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, she could do some shit in the ring that other women just can't do. So she came up. She has the look, right? She had her elimination chamber match, and that's basically where, boom, the rocket was strapped to her back. The rocket was strapped to her back at this point. I would not be halfway surprised. Now, I don't think Trick is going to win at the Elimination Chamber. First, he got to get in the Elimination Chamber, but I don't think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. But I bet you Trick Williams puts on a performance at the Elimination Chamber that's going to justify the push that he's destined to get, the push that he's earned. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, man. I can't say enough good things about Trick Williams. I'm super surprised that WWE is giving him the level of push that they're giving him because that's usually not the fucking case. But this time, apparently it is. And to branch off from that, I want to talk about a little theory I have. Now, it's professional wrestling. Theories change based on injuries, things like that. But are we seeing the beginnings of a double heel turn with Sami Zayn? Follow me. Follow me. Sami Zayn just keeps failing. He fails on Monday. He fails on Tuesday. He fails on Wednesday if he was wrestling on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sami Zayn fails. Trick Williams has been pointing that out. He's been pointing it out. I can't help but to think that Sami Zayn is starting to become a little bit of a hater. He's starting to be a hater because when he spoke to Ray Phoenix on SmackDown, he said, "Yeah, guys like Trick, you gotta teach him a lesson." Right? Which I was like, But I digress. He said, "Guys like Trick, you gotta teach him a lesson, right?" So Trick cut that shit off. He came to the ring, cut his promo. So now it's almost like Sami Zayn just wants Trick to fail because he's popular and Sami Zayn's not. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for a great storyline, which unfortunately I'm not a writer for WWE, so it might never see the light of day. But, one can hope. What if it played out like this? Let's say Trick goes to the Elimination Chamber, right? He goes to the Elimination Chamber. He's one of the final two competitors. So it's Trick and somebody else, the last one left. Let's say Cody Rhodes, right? Trick is right on the cusp of winning the Elimination Chamber. Then, boom, haluva kick. Haluva kick. Trick falls back in the ring. Crossroads. Cody Rhodes, like something similar to how Jade Cargill got involved and beat the shot of Naomi. Like, it's WWE. They'll find some way. They'll find some way to get Sami Zayn in there. So Trick gets kicked. Cody wins, right? That one instantly, because of the way the fans chant and cheer for Trick, that will instantly flip the narrative. Sammy becomes the heel. Trick becomes the face. Cinema. Then you instantly have a WrestleMania opener or middle of the card match. Sami Zayn, Trick Williams. Because you got to have Trick Williams at WrestleMania. You got to. I think it's a good opportunity for a double heel turn. I think they should execute it. Sami Zayn, he's not doing anything else. That's just my opinion, though. A big mistake that WWE made, in my opinion, is putting Jade Cargill against Jordan Grace. That was stupid. It was stupid. Let me get this straight. You call up Jordan Grace, and it seems like you want her to be one of the key women in the women's division. So why would you put her in a match at this point after being called up to have her lose to Jade Cargill? Now, I can't complain about it too much because I swear I feel like Jade Cargill had to lose multiple times before she actually went ahead and won the women's title. She had to go through all that. So maybe that's the direction they're going with it. But I just think it's stupid. I think it's stupid when you have two acts that you want to get hot face off with each other because somebody has to lose. I think it's stupid when you first sign somebody and you have them lose. I think it's stupid when you first call somebody up from NXT and you have them lose. It just sets the wrong standard and the momentum is just bad. So now they're going to have to justify why fans who are not as familiar with her should invest in her being successful. So, I mean, WWE, they're known for backing themselves into a corner, and they did it again. I heard it's because they don't have anything creatively for Jade to do. And I think that's probably a byproduct of Bianca not being there or not being ready yet. But yeah, man, they could have thought of something else besides having Jordan Grace be the one to take the L. That shit just didn't make sense, personally. Drew McIntyre is funny, bro. Drew McIntyre is funny as hell. He just doesn't mind his business. And I feel like I've been saying that for 3 episodes straight now. Drew McIntyre just does not mind his business. He just had to get involved in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, didn't he? He just had to get involved. It's almost like he doesn't want Cody to get another shot, but he keeps doing shit that's going to get Cody another shot. I'm trying to figure out what he's doing. He's attacking Fatu. He's attacking Cody. He's attacking both. Like, are you begging to get put in a fucking triple threat match at WrestleMania? Because that's what it feels like you're trying to do. So, I mean, that point his character don't make sense. And even if you go back to the beginning when he first turned heel, he's always the author of his own downfall. At WrestleMania, he wins the title, starts fucking with CM Punk, gets dropped on his ass, gets cashed in on. That was his fault. And when he loses this title, it's going to be his fault again. I still have a hard time believing that Drew McIntyre is going to go into WrestleMania as the champion. I have a real hard time believing that because I'm sorry. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, headlining night 1 or night 2. It's not going to be night 2s. That's going to be Roman CM Punk. Drew McIntyre, Cody headlining night 1 of WrestleMania. That shit just doesn't click to me. And that's no disrespect to Drew McIntyre at all. If it's not Cody versus Randy as night 1 of the main event of WrestleMania, or hell, night 2, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania just doesn't make sense to me. With all due respect to Drew, it just doesn't. I'm going to briefly touch on NXT here. I don't got a whole lot to say about NXT for this week, but I will say this. This past week of NXT reminded me of NXT Black and Gold in a sense, because there's just tons of fucking chaos, tons of shit going on left and right from the beginning to the end of the show. Who would have thought Ava leaving would have caused such a positive impact on the show? Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, NXT was better this week. NXT and TNA are probably the hardest watches for me for similar but very different reasons. NXT, they lack star power. Like, not the women's division. The women's division is great, but the men's division lacks star power to me. So seeing the episode with just a bunch of fucking chaos, that was great. Joe Hendry, champion. I gotta see what else they could do with that. But yeah, man. NXT this week, it was solid. It was solid. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next.
I'm so tired. What am I gonna do?
Quick shout out to our sponsor, W Energy. If you need focus without the sugar crash, this is that clean energy option. No jitters, no weird aftertaste. I use it when I'm ending or recording late. If you want to try it, use my code MFGDEEZ. That's MFGDEEZ at the checkout. Appreciate W for supporting the show. Now let's get back to this wrestling content.
AEW. Dynamite, for one, kicked off with Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega getting in the brawl. And I tell you this right now, Swerve Strickland asked for the cleaner, and by God, he got the fucking cleaner. He got the cleaner. He wanted the cleaner. He got the cleaner. Now I understand that Swerve ended up throwing Kenny off of the stage or through a table, whatever. But Kenny Omega was with the shits, man. Kenny Omega was with the shits. I felt like, based on Swerve's promo, it felt like to me that he was kind of calling Kenny Omega soft. That's what it felt like to me. I felt like he was calling Kenny Omega soft. And Kenny Omega immediately debunked that shit. Swerve thought he was going to punt Kenny Omega. Didn't fucking happen. So Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega went at it. And you know what? A match that I really didn't care for or thought that I wanted to see, now I really want to see it. I really want to see the match. I think that the match is going to be fucking off the charts. And Swerve, next time you ask for the cleaner, you better be ready because Kenny Omega wasn't fucking around. You better stop doubting Kenny, man. Y'all all better stop doubting Kenny. I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on with this Roderick Strong Orange Cassidy thing. Now, I'm not the most deep in tuned, deep thought AEW fan out there. I'm not, I can admit that, but I do watch the product. How long are they going to take before Roger Strong completely turns on Orange Cassidy? Now I understand that he left him ringside. I mean, left him ringside and he was by himself in a tag match. What's the end game here? Is the end game Roger Strong joining the Death Riders because his wife is with the Death Riders? Is that the end game? Because if it is, can we get to it already? I don't even know why they have been dragging it out so much. Have the guy attack Orange Cassidy. Have the guy join the Death Riders. I don't know what the big deal is, but hopefully him leaving Orange Cassidy high and dry during the tag team match is just the start of the storyline with him joining the Death Riders. But they need to get to it. They need to get to it. These Orange Cassidy storylines, I'm going to talk about another one later. These Orange Cassidy storylines, they linger too fucking long. Like, let's get to the point. Like, comedy, look, I hate to say it, man. Orange Cassidy is a gag wrestler. I'm sorry, man. He's a gag wrestler. Guys like Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, Mr. Iguana, R-Truth, Akira Tozawa, Otis, like, and don't get me wrong, Orange Cassidy, as far as like shit that could be done in the ring, Orange Cassidy, yeah, he's above those guys, but what all those guys have in common is they're gag wrestlers. You just don't take them serious. And for him to be involved in storylines as a gag wrestler, but his storylines to just go on too fucking long, it's like, let's get with it already. Like, Roderick Strong, attack this guy, join the Death Riders so you guys can have your match and it can be done with. AEW had some dumb ass booking decisions. Bro, I gotta adjust myself in my seat, man, because explain this to me. And I know it's gonna be AEW fans out there is gonna defend everything like they always do, but explain this to me. Explain to me how the fuck did you have Ciampa come in, win the TNT title, and lose that shit in one fucking week? How do you explain it? How? How do you explain it? Because I don't know how to explain it. Kyle Fletcher was already going to Grand Slam Sydney, right? Why not even have a TNT title match? Why not just have, if the whole thing was built around, we want Kyle Fletcher to win the TNT title or have the TNT title in Sydney, Australia. Why not just have him beat Ciampa at Grand Slam Sydney? Why? If it has something to do, like, okay, maybe Ciampa couldn't go to Australia. Okay, they could have figured maybe that was the reason why, and if it is, okay. But that shit didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand. If he no, it's not okay. If Ciampa couldn't go to Australia, why have Ciampa win the TNT title to begin with? Why? It didn't make fucking sense, bro. It didn't make sense. You could sit here, you could be the biggest AEW fan in the world. That shit didn't make fucking sense. Either don't have the guy win the TNT title and let Kyle Fletcher beat Mark Briscoe, or have him beat Ciampa in Grand Slam Sydney. That was a horrible booking decision. And while we're on the subject of horrible booking decisions, then in the same night, the same fucking night, you have Tekla beat Chris Statlander for the women's title. With all due respect to Tekla, because I think she's a great wrestler, it was not time for Chris Statlander to lose that title. And I know there's like rumors and shit going around that she doesn't like the way she's booked, and that's why she's getting punished and she's losing her title because of that. I've seen the rumors. I've seen them. It doesn't fucking matter. And if that's why she lost the title, it's just another point of evidence that Tony Khan is a smiling piece of shit that all these fans, AEW fans, think the sun rises and sets on his ass. But in reality, he's a dick because he keeps people off of TV, keeps people at home. He doesn't book people. If he's punishing her because she has complaints about how she's booked, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. The history of wrestling is full of political shit going on backstage, wrestlers not wanting to lose their spots, etc. It was not time for Chris Statlander to lose that title. It just wasn't. And in my opinion, it wasn't time for Tekla to win the fucking title. So, but that's kind of the issue with AEW's women division, right? Like, I feel like outside of Mercedes Moné, they just got a bunch of masters of nuns running around. Women who are good, not great, winning the titles back to back to back to back to back. And if you think one of the women at AEW are great women, great champions, which one is it? Which one? Which female wrestler in AEW right fucking now can go in as a Hall of Famer? And I'm not talking about WWE Hall of Fame because we know that shit is a fucking crock of shit. I'm talking about Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Outside of Mercedes Moné, which woman in AEW do you think is on a trajectory to go into the Hall of Fame? The answer is none. I can't name fucking one. I can't name one. They could have made one. They had some that could have made it. Britt Baker, by now, I mean, if you booked her right, she could have been on that trajectory. Like, it's just poor booking decisions. I don't know who's in charge of that shit. I assume Tony Khan. I don't know who the other writers are, but they can't write themselves out of a paper fucking bag. Then to continue on with the trend of bad booking, you get Grand Slam Sydney. You get Mox versus Takeshita. And then they have a great match. Excellent match. You know, a Continental Classic style match. Great match. You know, everybody in the Continental Classic can wrestle. AEW, we're the best wrestle, right? Match ends in a time limit fucking draw. How do you let that happen? The fans showed their discontent with it. They booed like a motherfucker because it's stupid. And then after the match, they're like, oh, yeah, we're face to face. Like, why? Like, I get the okay. I think they're trying to do a slow rise for Takeshita, but how long can he fucking rise? He's been rising for, I don't know. I done took 2 or 3 breaks from watching AEW. This dude been rising since the first break. When is he going to rise to the top? When? Tell me. Because him having a time limit draw that fans in Sydney, Australia pay to see a full fucking match with an actual conclusion, time limit draw. What? So we could all say, oh man, Takeshita, he's so close. He's been so close since I don't know fucking when. I'm just saying, man. Y'all could either took the belt off of Mox, gave it to Takeshita. You could have had Takeshita lose after a brilliant match, but you go with a time limit draw. Whoop-de-doo. It's typical bad booking in AEW. I know people be like, oh man, you're picking on AEW. You're picking on AEW. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just calling it how I see it. Like, I don't, if WWE had somebody have a fucking time limit draw, I would say that shit's stupid too. Double count out, time limit, like any type of match that ends in a fucking draw is stupid. Unless it's a match where, I'll give you an example of a match that I wouldn't have minded ended in a draw. If you had a match where it was like Carmelo Hayes versus Gunther, and Carmelo Hayes couldn't beat Gunther by pin, but they both got double counted out, that would raise up Carmelo Hayes, even though it was a double count out. In this case, it doesn't work. Takeshita has already done enough to be considered a main eventer in AEW. He's already done enough. So I don't feel like there was a need for there to be a time limit draw. Like it literally does nothing for Mox or Takeshita. It's a dumbass thing to do. I don't know, man. Back to Orange Cassidy. Back to Mr. Orange Cassidy himself. But with the lovely, talented, carrying AEW on her back, Toni Storm. They finally had their hair versus hair match with Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. They finally had their match. And Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta got to shave their fucking head now. And thank God, I hope this is fucking over. Because once again, as I said earlier, Orange Cassidy tends to be involved in storylines that last a little bit too long, despite him being a gag wrestler. Like, and I know I'm going to catch shit from the AEW fans for it. They love Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy, but it is what it is. He's a gag wrestler. He's a gag wrestler. Like, if any of you guys out there watch anime, you guys know I do. Orange Cassidy is like Saitama from One Punch Man. It's a gag character. Like, people will say, oh yeah, Saitama, he can beat Goku. Well, that's because he's a gag character. Orange Cassidy is a gag character. I don't need to see long storylines involving Orange Cassidy. And if you want to do that, go ahead, have Orange Cassidy do a heel turn, change his gimmick completely, and then we could do that because Orange Cassidy can wrestle. But as long as he's putting his hands in his pocket, wearing fucking a Canadian, what they call it, Canadian tuxedo, and fucking wearing sunglasses, doing all that shit, he's a gag wrestler. So I felt like this Toni Storm, Orange Cassidy, shit been going on too long, man. It's time for it to be over. Go ahead, feud with Roger Strong so that shit can end, and then y'all can go ahead and find the next gag feud for Orange Cassidy. Okay, so we finally got to find out what the match was going to be at AEW Revolution. You had Hangman Page defeating Andrade. You had MJF defeating Brody King. And we're going to get Hangman and MJF again, which is fine because I think they put on good matches. But here's the thing. Can that be the last one? Can it? Because I'm sick of seeing them guys fight each other. I'm sick of it. How many matches are they going to have? Hangman Page, MJF, like the feud has been going on forever. This needs to be the final one. Somebody needs to say it. Hangman Page, MJF for the last time. If MJF wins, Hangman Page can never get a shot at the AEW World title as long as MJF has it. MJF needs to add that stipulation because I'm simply sick of seeing them fucking fight each other. I'm sick of it. MJF, another thing. I've watched MJF since the beginning, since AEW first started. When AEW first started, I wasn't exactly impressed with MJF as a wrestler. Was impressed with him on the mic. That's never been in question. As a wrestler, wasn't that impressed. Wasn't impressed that he needed to cheat to win every single match. But this MJF now is not that MJF. I've seen MJF win multiple matches at this point where he didn't need to cheat. He didn't need to kick anybody in the nuts. He didn't have to hit anybody with the dynamite diamond ring. He didn't have to do none of that shit. He just flat out fucking won. Just flat out won. And that's the type of MJF I like to see. Do I love heel MJF? Yes. But I like heel MJF even more when he has the ability to win clean. I hate heels who have to cheat to win every match. Triple H, look, people are going to disagree with me. This might be a hot take. In my opinion, Triple H is the greatest heel of all time. Triple H is so great of a heel that he's retired and he's still seen as a fucking heel. Anybody that love lose, Triple H buried him. Buried him as a wrestler, buried him as an executive. WWE ticket price for WrestleMania too high. Triple H raised the prices. Wrestler gets released, Triple H's fault. And I know this is the AEW segment, so I don't want to go on a Triple H tangent, but I say that to say this. MJF has a chance. MJF could challenge for that throne. He can. But one of the key components to MJF becoming one of the greatest heels of all. Now, the older heads, because I'm an old head myself to some people, but the older heads will tell you that Ric Flair is the greatest heel of all time. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. I feel like a lot of stuff Ric Flair did to be a heel was cookie cutter compared to the shit Triple H is doing. Triple H has really did some dastardly shit. MJF really does dastardly shit. But the key component that becoming the greatest heel of all time has to have, you have to be able to cheat to win, but you still have to be able to beat people clean to win. You got to know how to do both. You can't be somebody that cheats to win every match. You can't be somebody who only wins clean. You got to do both. And I feel like MJF is doing that now. At first, he was cheating in every fucking match. Every match, dynamite diamond ring, kick to the nuts, 1, 2, 3. But now he's beating big motherfuckers like Brody King, like clean or partially clean enough. So MJF has a chance to become the greatest heel in wrestling history. MJF has a chance to become the greatest heel in wrestling history. And I stand on that. Whew, last one. TNA. Oh boy. I don't even have specific storylines or shit like that to tell you about TNA. I'm going to be completely honest. And I told Petey Stunt this earlier today. TNA is awful. Like I'm sorry, man. TNA is god awful. Like, I do think they will get better, but their start to their AMC era, awful. Completely fucking awful. It looks low budget. The fans, the arenas they're wrestling in are dull as fuck. They don't have star power. So when guys come to the ring, they're fucking they don't have star power. So when guys come to the ring, nobody's cheering. There's no pop. It feels like nobody is over in TNA. Nobody. Even Leon Slater, who, in my opinion, is the biggest star in that company. In my opinion, he's their greatest chance. It will behoove them to not let WWE take him away. It will behoove them to stop that from happening because he is their biggest star. And he is their greatest chance to return to relevance. But TNA has been awful, man. They have a ton of wrestlers that I have no fucking clue who they are, to the point where the commentary team have to explain who these wrestlers are as they're coming to the ring. Like generic entrance music because they're I'm trying to be fucking nice here. Because they're jobbers, like enhancement talent. Then at No Surrender, they have Mike Jackson, 70 plus years old. Mike Jackson. Not Beat It, not Thriller. Mike Jackson, the wrestler, 70 something years old, come out and have a wrestling match. Bro, I want TNA to succeed, bro. And honestly, I don't want to sound like a pro wrestling blue blood. Because, I mean, you guys probably like, oh, yeah, he's Team WWE when it comes to the promotion awards. I don't believe in a promotion. I don't believe in tribalism. But I would feel the same way if this was AEW. I don't want TNA to be that ass and be associated with WWE. I'm sorry, because it's almost like if that relationship isn't helping you, then you're doing it wrong. Like, what does TNA need? Fuck talking about the bad stuff with TNA. What does TNA need? TNA needs star power. A lot of these guys who are going to get released from WWE after WrestleMania, TNA need to be waiting by the phone. They need to be waiting to call these guys in. WWE, as a partner for TNA, they need to be helping facilitate the transition of wrestlers they're planning to release to be able to go right into TNA and let them wipe out the 90-day no compete clause so they could go right into that company and get into storylines and get shit going. Because TNA has horrible star power. And I understand that a lot of people's favorites are down there. The Kazarians, the Mike Santanas, the Nick Namaths, the Mooses. Like, those guys are great, but that is not enough star power. It's just not. And there's tons of wrestlers in WWE languishing, not being used. They're your partner. Try to facilitate a way. If WWE is going to do post WrestleMania cuts, try to facilitate a way to negotiate early with some of those wrestlers so they could come right into TNA, get their 90-day no complete clauses erased, and get right to work at TNA. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is, and I hope this is something that's coming down the pipeline, I hope in some way, shape, or form that AJ Styles has a run in that company before he officially retires. He needs a run in that company, and I feel like that would be a good way. He's given TNA so much already, but that would be a good way to give back to TNA on his way out. That would add eyes to the product. It will put butts in seats. It will have a familiar face and name to both TNA hardcore fans and WWE fans. And I think that would be a big deal for them. They need a focal point superstar. It can't be Leon Slater. It can't be AJ Styles. It can't be either one of those guys. It can't be. AJ Styles, we know that he's in his last run. So it can't be him. Leon Slater, kind of like Javon Evans, Leon Slater is not the type of guy that you could build an entire show around. He's not. He could be one of the guys you built TNA around, the X Division specifically. You could build the X Division around Leon Slater. You can't build TNA around Leon Slater. When I say building around, I'm talking about Roman Reigns type of, like, he has a hand in every part of the show from beginning to end in one way or another. That's the type of wrestler TNA needs. And that wrestler could already be on the roster, but you have to build somebody up to that point. And right now, just looking at TNA, they don't have one. Who's gonna fucking do it? AJ Francis? Like, come on now. Like, they need a focal point. And the next best thing is good to have both. But if you don't have a focal point wrestler, you need a focal point stable. And I'm here to tell you, the system is not that stable. Not with Kurt Hawkins, Cedric Alexander, Eddie Edwards. He's good, but he's not the type of look. TNA has done it before. Aces and eights, right? And I know people have mixed feelings about aces and eights, but let me tell you something. Aces and eights was so vast of a stable and a storyline that it made TNA watchable week to week to week. They don't have that. To me, I'm sorry. This is going to sound fucking harsh. I'm sorry to say this, man, but if you got a stable and Cedric Alexander and Kurt Hawkins, and I know that's not his name in TNA, but that's my point. They're part of your stable. They're not putting nobody in the dirt, bro. Eddie Edwards probably could put somebody in the dirt, but the rest of them, that group was so much more intimidating with Moose in it. And now Moose not in it. And even when Moose was in it, it didn't really gel like that. So those are the things TNA need if they want to be, if they want to get out of what I'm perceiving as a fucking slump, because honestly, right now, that show is god awful. God awful. All right, y'all. Thanks for checking it out. If you made it this far in the video, please like, please subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. And come tune in next time for the next episode. I'm MFGDs. This is the Crimson Mass Show. It's next time.